What's up, guys? We're back with another price update. Today we got the Pixel 6 Pro here. So this phone has come down in price a lot, guys. It's now $363 on Amazon right now, renewed, refurbished. And I get majority of my phones renewed, refurbished just to save costs, you know, just buying all these phones on the channel. And they usually come in pretty good condition. I've actually never gotten a bad phone. So I always get that question. So I highly recommend Amazon renewed, refurbished. This is a pretty awesome phone for that price. I'm actually a little bit shocked that it's actually that cheap. So one of the reasons why the price has dropped so much is obviously the Pixel 7 Pro came out. The Pixel 7 Pro, actually a very good phone. You know, I'm seeing people give it the Smartphone of the Year award and stuff like that. So it is actually very impressive device. But this phone, now that it doesn't have these software problems that sort of plagued it in the beginning, because I remember when I first got it, it was like crashing all over the place. It was just super buggy. But now it's running Android 13, and it's a very smooth experience so far. A lot of the bugs have been worked out on this phone. And I want to start off with one of my favorite things about this phone is this phone has a very nice and smooth display. It's an LTPO AMOLED display. It's 120 Hz. It's HDR10 Plus at 6.7 inches. It's also 1440p, and it has a 512 ppi. So it's just a big, bright, beautiful display. It is a curved display. You guys can see the punch hole in the middle, and it is definitely a big phone. But yeah, I absolutely love the screen on here. It's just really bright and vibrant. And also, the 120 Hz is extremely smooth, guys. I said it this before. Pixels are some of the smoothest Android devices that I've used so far. I've used a lot of the, you know, flagship devices from Samsung and Asus, and man, this is just really buttery smooth, the animations and everything. So that's always the one thing that stands out to me, is just how smooth Google has gotten stock Android. And again, stock Android, extremely clean, no bloatware. Just to give you an example, like on Samsung devices, you'll basically have Google Photos and Samsung Galleries, and you'll have just double applications and a lot of Samsung stuff. But this is actually just a very smooth, clean experience. The settings is very clean on this device. And again, this might not be attractive to some people because you know, One UI has actually the opposite. It has a ton of stuff and a lot of features you can enable and take advantage of. But this is very clean. Everything's well organized with the Pixel. So I want to talk about the build quality on this phone. The build quality is pretty nice. It's kind of a boxy phone, kind of like a Note phone, and it has an extremely unique design on here as well too. The camera bar is basically you know, this is Pixel's design, go-to design. So when you see this phone, you pretty much know it's a Pixel. That's what I like about it, because a lot of phones these days blend in with other phones. It is glass and metal. It's IP68 dust and water resistant as well too. And it's just a really nice phone to look at. And like I said, I like the unique identity. I wish they just had like a matte version of this phone, because it does kind of pick up fingerprints a little bit depending on if you get like a darker color. But overall, I really like the design of this phone as well too. So speaking of performance here, we do have the first gen Google Tensor chip. And how has this chip held up? So again, it's extremely fast, right? And also, it does a pretty good job for gaming. Now, this phone does heat up, but a lot of the newer phones actually heat up. Even like the iPhone 14 Pro, the S22 Ultra, a lot of these newer phones heat up when doing intense gaming. Like I said, I'm not a very super intense gamer, but I've even seen some videos where they crash and stuff like that. But this phone, it heats up, but it has not crashed or given me any issues like that. Like I said, maybe if you game on it for hours and hours, you'll see that. But yeah, it does do a pretty good job with gaming performance. So if you're a gamer, you can definitely get some pretty good settings out of this phone. It does have 128 gigs of internal storage and 12 gigs of RAM. It also does really good with multitasking as well too. You can multitask and it won't close applications. It has plenty of RAM for that. So I absolutely love that. So the game performance and overall smoothness on this phone is actually pretty good. Let's talk about the additional features with this phone. So this phone has amazing sounding speakers on it. So the bass quality is really good on this phone. You get some really nice deep bass on this phone. You can hear all the bass notes. It's something that I really like about this phone. Also, the optical fingerprint scanner on here, like I said, the 7 Pro's fingerprint scanner is a little bit faster. This one is actually not as bad as people say. Yeah, you do have to apply pressure. It is optical fingerprint scanner, but honestly, once you get used to it, it's really not that bad. I wish they added the face unlock to this phone. I believe it can really still do it. So I don't know why they don't add it, but you know, whatever. Also, guys, this phone has NFC. It also has on here excellent cameras. So let's go ahead and touch on that, because that's probably one of the most important things about this phone. So this phone still has extremely competitive cameras with pretty much any flagship. But really, I compared it to the 7 Pro if you guys want to watch that comparison, and basically it still takes just as good pictures that the Pixel 7 Pro does. It takes beautiful detailed shots on here. Google does a really great job with skin tones as well too, which is something that I really like with this phone. I compared it to the S22 Ultra, the iPhone 14 Pro. A lot of people prefer the Pixel shots. It does a really good job with dynamic range. It does a good job with the colors, giving you kind of natural colors on here as well too. So the specs on it does have a 50 megapixel standard. You also have a 48 megapixel telephoto. It does 4x optical zoom, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 4K 60. They have a 11.1 megapixel selfie camera on, and that is also a ultra wide as well too, and that shoots in 4K 30. I think the only thing the camera is really missing is a macro mode. But yeah, it takes top-notch photos. I mean, beautiful, high-quality shots, great low-light shots on here as well too. I am genuinely impressed every time I take pictures with the Pixel. Like I said, it's one of my favorite to go to if I'm going somewhere and I want to take like some serious pictures. I just love the way this phone takes pictures, and I love the Google camera application. It's extremely fast as well too. The only thing that's lackluster about the Pixel's camera is definitely the video. I think the video is just okay. It's not as good as Samsung's or iPhone in my opinion. They could definitely use some work in that. It's not bad by any means. It's just not I don't think it's competitive with those two guys. But yeah, the cameras are really awesome on this phone. Alright guys, so let's talk about the battery life on here. So the battery life, you can get a full day out of this phone. I just don't like that the standby time isn't as good. And again, that's one thing that they fixed with the Pixel 7 Pro. It does have much better standby time. This phone, like I said, will get you around 6 hours of screen on time. But could battery life be better? Yeah. But my issue is not that. My issue is the standby time. I wish it was better. But yeah, so battery, you do have a 5,000 milliamp battery on here, 23 watt wired charging on here as well too, and you have wireless charging at 23 watts. You also have reverse wireless as well too, which is nice, so you can charge other devices. And like I said, the battery experience is pretty good. It'll get you through a full day, no problem. So in general, I really like the Pixel 6 Pro here for this price at $363. You won't find a better camera. No mid-range phone is touching this phone when it comes to the camera in terms of just taking stills. It's not even close. And also the screen is high quality on here as well too. You get a really cool, unique design on here, and you get stock Android, and you get really quick updates with this phone as well too. That's also another thing. So if you're somebody that, when the next Android version of Android comes out, Android 14, boom, you get it on the Pixel first. So what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.